Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live again for another broadcast. And today, hopefully, a very helpful one for a lot of people. We're going to be talking about how to let go, what you need to do if you have something that you need to let go of. And I'm not an expert at it. I just want to make sure that you know that because I struggle with some things more than others. But I had a really big one happen this week, and I thought, gosh, I really should talk about how I managed to do that because it was an important one. Plus, I have a couple of other examples of viewers that let go of stuff this week. And so I thought that, it's always easier when you can hear the story of what somebody else is doing. All right. Hi there, Jody. For those of you who are new to the broadcast, you're going to see below here, if you're watching on the replay, especially if you're watching on the replay, you're going to see at the bottom in the notes that it's going to say from 00 to such and such a time, news, views, and updates. And then from another time onwards, the topic of the day, which today is about letting go. The reason we do that is hi, Jamie, we normally spend the first few minutes just chit-chatting, welcoming people on board. We're like an extended family here, so we know each other quite well, and we like to sort of keep up to date with one another and make sure we've got everybody's news and views. And that's really important to us. And then once we've sort of given a bit of time to that, then we go on to the topic. So if you just want to get to the topic, you will know where to go. For those of you who happen to be ghosting, that is that you're going to be watching but not in the chat, we welcome you. And we know from a lot of emails and notes that I've received that it helps you, and we are delighted. So feel free to do that. If you come into the chat, please make sure that you understand that if you are new to the chat, I will probably ask you whether I'm allowed to repeat that if you put something that I think might be sensitive. The reason I say that is my regular viewers know if they put it up that I'm going to talk about it. So we've sort of got that agreement. They know that if it's something they don't want talked about, don't put it up on the chat. But for people that I don't know too well, I am inclined to ask. The other thing is for some, even regulars, if I think they're in the stream of the conversation and might have forgotten that we're live or we'll be rebroadcasting this, I'll even ask them occasionally. So just be aware that that happens. All right, so let's get on to just some news. The thoughts and prayers this week. Jody's having a tough week. And so anybody got some thoughts and prayers they can hand out to Jody this week, I'd really be appreciative. We'll talk a bit more about that when we're doing the case study, but it's not easy. And as I said, we'll talk about it in the case study because I think it's much easier to give the examples of it. Birthdays, I know that it's Nana's birthday today. Yay, happy birthday, Nana. And I believe that we've got, for those of you who remember Christine in Australia, I believe it's her birthday next Monday week. So, and Schmegs. Do any of you remember Schmeg? Some of the older people will definitely do that. So those are the birthdays that we've got this week. I'm trying to think what news I've heard. I heard from Lizzie. She's doing fine. And hi, Pat. I heard from Lizzie. Who else did I hear from? A couple of other people. Some of you may know I went down to visit Benji, Judy, and the girls this week. For a very quick overnight visit, and oh, what a delight it was. It's really funny. You drive for that many hours and you literally pack in, that many hours of being a grandmother, and you would all be delighted to hear that the twins no longer scream at me, of course. They actually know who I am, and they know I'm the one with the funny voice, but they also know I'm the one that normally brings presents. Of course, everybody does, but, and it was really funny because when I saw the twins, I said to them, I said to the twins, no, who are you? Because you can't be the twins. I know that Benji repeated it later for the Halloween thing, but I literally looked at at the children. And I said, who are you? I know that's Juliana, but who are you? No, we're Mia and Kira. No, you're not. They're much smaller than you. So who are you? And I played this game with them for about 5 minutes, and it was so funny because they were really getting quite frustrated. But it was very funny at the time, and I'm glad I did it because it sort of broke any ice that there was. And I was saying things like, yeah, well, which one of you, let me do a skill testing question. Which one of you likes Princess Belle? You know what I mean? And I would do things like that. So now I'll know whether it's true or not. I couldn't remember which one loves, I think it's Kira that loves Princess Belle, but you know what I mean? It's just like, I just threw out these questions that I knew they would understand. So that was really cute. Yes, Pat, sorry. For those of you who don't know, Pat's recovering from an operation, and Pat, I kept it pretty low key because of what you wrote to me, but I did put up that you had recovered from it, so that you got through it okay. So I'm delighted to hear that you're okay, and one day at a time, Pat. That's what we're all learning to do these days. Yes, Jamie, I agree with you. Juliana has grown into a 6-year-old going on 16. Do you know what I mean? She really has come into her own. And I don't know if you saw the video, but she always plays this game with me because she knows I'm going to ask her to smile, and she does everything she can not to smile. And then she gives me the real cheesy, you know what I mean? And so it's really cute, that game she plays. But it was really funny. Some of you will remember from way back, she and I have always colored together. And at one stage when we were sitting and everybody was talking, Juliana came to me with a special coloring book. And she said, Mama Sal, you always color with me. And I said, yes, I do, honey. You're quite right. And what we did was, we didn't have a lot of time, but I'm so glad that that's what she remembers, is that I always take time to color something. And I didn't have a lot of time because, the meal needed to be had or whatever it was. But, I was glad to have that moment and the fact that she remembered. And for the first time, I actually got to go upstairs into the twins' bedroom and read bedtime stories to them. So it was, for me, absolutely mind-blowing. And they said to me, Mama Sal, and I go, what? And they go, you've read 3 stories. And I said, so? We're only allowed 1. I said, no, this is special. Just know when I come down, it's special. You're allowed more than 1. And I'm going, if you think I'm going to stop after 1, think again. But it was really cute. And then just before I left, really cute, just before I left, I think it was Mia who bought me a children's cookbook and wanted me to cook with her. And I said, honey, I have to go. I've got to go home. But it was, I'm pleased to say that they have not forgotten who I am. And more than that, I didn't realize it at the time, and it brings tears to my eyes to even talk about it, but they still hold me dear in their prayers every night. And I didn't know that. I thought, that would probably be long gone. But I listen to them, they know their prayers by rote, if you know what I mean. You can just know that they know it off by heart. And boy, I fit right in there. And it was just like, oh, is that adorable or what? And so I feel very, very blessed. It did me good. And so I guess the message I have here is, if you haven't been out to go visit somebody, go do it. Now, it was interesting because the guy at the border, if you can believe this, the guy at the border actually, when he asked me where I was going, I told him, and he said, you haven't been for a while. Why not? expect the guy from the border to keep track of how many times I visited them. So I thought that was interesting that they know exactly how many times I go down there. And they said, he said to me, you normally go down quite often and you haven't been down for quite a while. And I don't know if any of you relate to this, but I literally said, because I didn't think, I just answered the truth, which was, I'm old school. I wait to be invited. Do any of you understand what I mean by this? It's like, and then funny enough, I was talking to Judy about it, and Judy just got quite angry with me and said, but it was, it was a really strange reaction that I had. And as I said it, this is why I'm mentioning, as I said it, the tears literally rolled down my eyes. I mean, they were literally bouncing off my cheeks, if you can imagine it. And it was just like, I looked at the guy and I said, I'm so sorry. And he said, no, I can feel that. And yes, Jody, I'm glad that you can relate, because I don't know, is it different today? Do you just go and visit people because you feel like it? Because in my day, you didn't go unless you were invited. So I guess I'm going to call out. The good news is I did actually, Benji, of course, started to talk down December. And I said, am I invited? And he looked at me like I was insane and said, yes. And I said, oh, okay, then I will, because do any of you relate to this? In my world, you get invited. You don't just presume that you are doing things. So the good news is that we will be back during December, and I'm really happy to go. This time I will go down and do it with them. Yes, Pat, thank you. I do not presume. It's like I do that annual thing for the young people where I talk on leadership. And I don't presume that I'm going to get invited. I am surprised when I am, if I can put it that way. So, Pat, do you want to update at all on your stuff, or do we just hold you in our thoughts and prayers and hope for a speedy recovery from, how many stitches did you end up with? Oh, excuse me. And while I'm waiting for that reply, do any of you have any updates that we need to add to this? Just so that, lots, okay. That's a good answer. Okay, so more than a few, lots. Yeah, I've got lots down my stomach. So we're going to be talking in a second about letting go. 6 cuts? Are you serious, Pat? Didn't they know what they were going in for? Or did they make 6 cuts inside or 6 cuts on your stomach? All right, now, Pat, I'm trying very hard not to laugh, because I'm certain that laughing will be a little sore for you. But there's this part of me that goes, that would make a lot of sense for Pat. They did quilting, right, Pat? Yeah, I had one of those that took longer than expected as well. Yes. Did they wake you up to tell you they needed to go back to do more important stuff? I can remember having that happen to me, where they literally woke me up and said, we found something quite serious. And, we need to go back in, and please sign here. And I went, okay. Well, Jody, I just think about it, all I think about is pattern quilts, right? And camping. And, it sort of makes sense to me. You look like patchwork. Yes, exactly. So I think that it's not that any of us would want you to look like patchwork, but it does sort of make sense. Yeah, they tried, but you crashed, right? And they had to put you back. Yeah, they had to bring you back to us. Well, Pat, I am so happy that they did bring you back to us. I wasn't going to mention that publicly, but seeing as you have, yeah, there's nothing simple about you, Pat. Yeah, nobody wanted you, Pat. Sent you back. No, thanks. Yeah. Send her back. We're not ready for her yet. Well, their loss is our gain, Pat. Yeah. I definitely didn't talk about that because I know that was something that you didn't want to be advertised necessarily. But if you're ready for it now, that's good. All right. So I'm going to do a time check here, if I can see the time. Hold on 1 second. 16 minutes, Jody. And what we're going to talk about today is about letting go. And, you know, have any of you got anything that you need to let go? Because that would be, hi, Beth. Hi, Linda. Boy, your timing is good. We're going to be talking about letting go. So how's Lucas doing, Beth? Sorry, that is something I meant to mention earlier, that Beth's grandson is in hospital with allergies, right? I'm sorry. No, yeah, he's got an allergic reaction to something. Was it to the candy, do you think? And I'm hoping you all had a magical Halloween. He just got home. Okay, that's good to hear that he's stable enough to be home. I'm delighted to hear that. Well, you know, we were talking a bit about letting go last week, but this week I wanted to talk about what you actually need to do. I'm going to do a couple of quotes just to get us in the mood. But if any of you have got anything that you know you need to let go of, I'm hoping that this process may help you just a little bit. And to start with, in the process of letting go, you will lose many things from the past that you will find yourself. And Deepak Chopra said that, and that is so true. That sometimes we need to let go of stuff just so that we can move forward. It's like, the burden that we carry of everything from our past, is so heavy, we can't really move forward until we lighten it. And letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to force other people to. How many of you need to hear that one? Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to force other people to. And that would be about letting go of people. And to me, I've always said, that we can literally read these quotes every week and still literally work them every week, because every week things happen to us. Has anybody got anything that sort of came up for them this week where they thought, wow, I need to let go? I want you to talk a little bit about something that happened to Lauren. Yes, and putting yourself first, exactly. Something happened to Lauren this week where she wanted to do a particular trip. And she has been looking forward to this trip for some time. And she decided she'd apply for a loan so that she could go. I think she had to go to Melbourne to do it. Whatever it was that she wanted to do, which isn't the issue. The issue is she wanted to do this trip. And she's been quite excited about it for quite a while. And then the loan got rejected. And, so I want you to imagine, what do you think the feelings were for Lauren when she got rejected for the loan? So I want you to sort of work through this with me, because as we work through it, it will help cement the things you need to do in order to let go. So here she was, all excited about doing this trip. All she needed was the funding. She applied for the loan, and then they said no. So what do you think the emotion was around that? Anybody got any input on that? What sort of emotion do you get when you get rejected? Sad, good, angry, hurt, disappointed. All right. Those, as we know, are all emotional reactions. And so to me, it's like, I totally related to what she must have been feeling. All of those, right? I totally related. She must have been sad at some level, angry. She must have been a little hurt and disappointed, and maybe even betrayed at some level. And the most incredible thing was that she handled it so well. Now, at what level, depth of, I don't know, but what her response to me was, or to us was, never mind, God must have another plan. Now, do you understand, in having that faith statement, she was able to let go of the trip. So the fact that she had faith in the future made it possible for her to let go. Does that make sense? Yeah, I thought she was amazing as well. Just really mind-blowing. So again, and we've said this many times, if ever you want to get out of emotional pain, cut out the emotional words. All right, if you cut out all the emotion and just stay with the facts. I want to go on this trip. I need money to go on this trip. The bank won't lend me the money to go on the trip. I can't go on the trip. Do you understand how simple that becomes if you don't hate the bank? It's not fair. But I've been planning this for 6 months, all those things. If you let go of all that stuff and just keep to the facts, it's a very simple process. And she literally went, okay, I can't go. God must have a better plan. Awesome. Now, Jody had a difficult week. And Jody has had some physical things going on that have made her week very, very difficult. She is in more pain because not only has she got her lymphoderma pain, but she then also got hit with a sciatic nerve playing up as well. And Pat, I know you know all about that one. And so she was in like double whammy of pain. She was deeply concerned. Hi, Marie. She was deeply concerned because Lionel, her husband, needed to push her in a wheelchair, and Lionel has injured his shoulder, right? Or is it his arm, Jody? And so, you can imagine Jody, being the loving spirit that she is, she was probably more worried about Lionel trying to push her in a wheelchair than she was about anything else. His back. Okay, thank you. I'm thinking about Benji and his shoulder, which is this one. So you look at it, and I know you well enough, Jody, to know that you probably weren't worried about your pain. You were worried about Lionel, and that would have affected you a great deal. But the reality was that her doctor really understood the amount of pain she was in. And I thought that was wonderful. And basically, what happened to Jody was she realized that maybe what's coming down the pike for her isn't going to be a lot of fun. And so therefore, in Jody's case, she felt the need to let go of some of her hopes and dreams about how this might go down and deal with a little bit of reality. And, I thought that must have been really difficult, Jody. Okay, and I'll be with you in a second on that one, Beth. So it must have been really difficult to say, I have faith and I have hopes and dreams, but I also want to deal in reality. And I think that as difficult as that is to do, dealing in reality really helps. All right. And I really admire you for it, because this is not about being negative. This is but this is pragmatic. This is my world as I see it. It's like Pat has to let go of any dreams of doing a marathon this week, right? Yes, it was a tough day for you, both emotionally and physically. But the interesting thing is, you are such a trooper. You're still here helping us. You are doing so much just to do the best you can. And that is all anybody can ask of you. So if you need to cry for a day because of what's going on, you go ahead and do it, honey. You know what I mean? To me, this is like, you have handled all of this so well. You have every reason to be proud. So that's just my view. Let me just read what Beth said. Beth said, what about when someone is ready to let go and the other person is not? The decision has to be mutual, but one is not ready to make the decision. It's about our dog Peanut, who just turned 19. He's deaf, blind, and is having issues with his urine control. I think it's quite a simple question, Beth, but that's just me. The question is, are you holding on, hi, Sakura, are you holding on for you, or are you holding on for Peanut? Because Peanut is in having a rough time. And I would find out from the vet, how much pain, is going on here. Because to me, it's a no-brainer. It's like, it's the same as I hope that somebody would do to me. It's about dignity of life as well. It's like, we can love our animals to pieces, but something, we are fortunate that we have the ability to not have them suffer, which we don't often have with humans. So, I really would recommend that you look at, the fact that one person doesn't want to, one person does. To me, this is about who's doing all the cleaning up, who's doing. Yeah, I was pretty sure that's the way that it was, Beth. So, really, I would ask your husband, seriously, are you doing this because you don't want to say goodbye? Or are you doing this because you think it's better for Peanut? And if you haven't asked that question, I would ask it. And then just say, the only reason I'm saying what I'm saying is I'm trying to look after Peanut's best interests here. I don't want to see Peanut in any more pain. And that is, yeah, he's suffering. Exactly. It's not that you want to kill him. You want to give him the same dignity. All right. The peace. He's 19. How many dogs live to 19? But you know something? I also know, Beth, that everybody's got to do it at their own speed. So I would start asking questions. What needs to happen so that you will be okay letting Peanut go from this agony that he's going through? What do you need to see? He can hardly eat anymore. He doesn't have any teeth left. I mean, what has to happen? You just want to see him die in front of you but is there a faith issue in here, Beth? Because I know I have a friend of mine. I have a friend of mine who had a dog dying of cancer, and this dog couldn't even walk anymore. And they literally carried it around like a baby. And I shook my head. But you know something? Nothing I could do or say would have changed that. They just didn't want to let go. And so I think some people, I don't know, to me, there are two things. One is it selfish to hold on? And secondly, is it faith-based to hold on? So you have to sort of work out, because some people do not believe in euthanasia, in which case that will probably be a faith-based thing. So I don't know. Who's paying the bills on this as well? Not that I think paying the bills is what it's about. It's about, it's about the quality of life, I think. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, and Beth, I would remind your husband of that story. What's going to have to happen before you agree. But, you can't force somebody. I know, I will tell you one thing, Beth. When I made the decision on Bean Bean, and he was only 8, he wasn't like 18 or 19. When I made the decision on Bean Bean, it was purely for him. Because it broke my heart. I adored him. Yes, talk to him with the vet present and talk about, what is the prognosis? What's, how much pain is Peanut in now? What's the next thing going to be to go? Because the vet will have a pretty good idea of that, right? And literally deal with the facts. And, nobody wants to get rid of Peanut, but are we doing the kind of thing by letting Peanut out of pain? Or I don't know whether you think that, filling a dog full of opioids and things is a good idea. Some people perhaps do. I don't. I think differently. But everybody has to do it their way. Makes sense? Yes, I am quite certain that you're reliving the fear of finding your previous dog with a broken back because he fell off the porch. Yes, I can understand that, Beth. You're scared to death when you get home, you'll find him dead. And that's no way for you to live either. But I don't know what to say because your husband and wife, I'm pretty sure that you two have had some pretty interesting discussions in the past because my sense is you are very different personalities. And so you love your husband for all the right reasons, and they include the fact that he is different, that he thinks differently, Beth. So I would also add that into the mix. I love you because of this, this, and this. And I always will. But this is about Peanut, and Peanut is hurting. And, I'd even ask him, if I were hurting like this, would you want me to continue in this much pain? So again, Beth, if he comes back with emotion, but I love Peanut. Yes, we both do. This isn't about love. This is not about love. This is about care for Peanut. We know that we both love Peanut to bits because he's cute as a button. But Peanut is suffering. That's a different story. Peanut's not a little puppy. Peanut now is old, and suffering. And, we have a choice. The choice is, I don't know what the vet has said, Beth. So, but I'm pretty sure the vet will see both sides of that story and help you. I found that my vet didn't make the decision. But, I'm pretty pragmatic. So every time I saw what was happening to Bean Bean, and every time I saw the vet, I'd go, is it time? I literally would ask that question, is it time? And she would say to me, not yet, Sal, no. You'll know. And I go, okay, fine. And then, the next time I went, I'd look at her because he was struggling a bit, and I'd say, and she said, no, you're fine. He's fine. You'll know. And, when it actually happened, I did know. And I literally, it was during a barbecue, and I looked at Yvonne and Wade were with me, and I said, if you want to drop half your steak for Bean today, this will be a good time, because he's not going to be here for next week's barbecue. And they both looked at me absolutely stunned, and I said, I just watched what happened to him, and when he can't get up to get a piece of steak, he's in a bad way. And so, to me, Beth, it's a very sad thing to talk about, but it is important. Yes, if it hurts to be groomed, right? It's about what has to happen. Wow. And Beth saying her last dog died terribly, and on the same day that his dad died and Lucas was born. Okay. So you understand he's probably still linking all these things together, the same as you link coming home to a dead dog or a suffering dog, suffering more. We've all got things that are linked. So I would actually treat this with a lot of love for your husband. And I would actually talk in terms of, something, I know you're a very loving person and a very caring person, and I know in my heart that you would not want Peanut to suffer. So there's more to this than I know. Tell me what is, I can't, it just doesn't make sense to me that you would want Peanut to suffer. So tell me what's really going on. Because I know you're a good person, and I know that you care about Peanut. So therefore, it helped me understand. Do you get what I'm getting at, Beth? Come from a positive place, not a negative one. Because there's more to this somewhere. Okay. And he probably loves that little rugrat to bits, at a whole different level. And so just try and do that, and just keep, saying, let's go and talk to the vet. No, it's okay, Beth. I've been there. I know the problem. And you know something? I had to stop worrying about me. The only way I could let go of Bean was to stop thinking about me, because I probably loved Bean more than any dog I've ever owned, because he was really quite special. And so to me, it was like, I cannot think about me. This is only about Bean. And that is my recommendation. Get the emotion out of it. Now, this one is a really great quote, I think. It says, one of the happiest moments in life is when you find the courage to let go of what you cannot change. Jody, when I saw that quote, I thought of you. All right, that one of the happiest moments in life is when you let go of what you cannot change. And I say that because in a way that takes a great burden off you. It takes a great deal of, you're very hard on yourself, Jody. You expect yourself to be able to do way more than you probably physically can. And yet it always makes me laugh because you are so considerate of everybody else, all the other viewers. And yet you don't have that same level of consideration for yourself. And that amazes me. But I understand it. I totally understand it. And I'm sure there are other viewers that do as well. So see it as not a failure as much as see it as, good. Yeah, see it as an understanding. We're all working on stuff. Now, I don't know if any of you will make any sense of this, but I let go of the fifth wheel this week. And some of you know I've been planning how to fit my life into that fifth wheel for 6 months. literally to the inch. I have been planning it. I've got literally graph paper where I know where I'm going to put all the bits and everything. And this week I let it go. And that was not an easy decision because I had assured them that I was good to go and do this deal. But the most peculiar thing happened to me, which is this is the week that I would have put down the deposit. And when it got down to that, I heard this huge voice in my head say, do not sign this deal. And I'm going, what? And literally, I heard this voice say, do not sign this deal. And it happened to me on Monday. And I thought, okay, well, I will think about it when I travel down to go and see Benji and Judy. And as I travel back, I'll try and work all this out, why this is happening. And here is where my argument was. And I'm going to tell you my story of this because I'm hoping that some of you will see where I had to let go of emotion and deal with just reality. The emotion around it was I didn't want to break my word in as much as I had said I was going to go ahead and do this deal. And some of you know me pretty well. Integrity is pretty high up on my list of things that I try and strive for. But it was integrity in a way that stopped me signing the deal. And the reason was because I had a call. Do you believe in, you know that I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything has a reason for happening. I got a really interesting call from a realtor within the last 10 days, perhaps in the last 7 days. And the realtor said, do you know it's only taking an average of 76 days to sell a property in your area? Now, first of all, I didn't think realtors were allowed to cold call anymore, but I'll find that out. And you guys know me pretty well. I explained I had a realtor, but thank you for the call. And then the guy said, well, do you know where you're going to? And I said, as I said, I have a realtor, thank you. And I put the phone down, and then my mind went, because I don't believe in coincidences. Okay, God, why did you let me know that the average, do you understand? I saw this as a card I was being played. Why did you let me know it takes an average of 76 days to sell a house in my area? And I went, that's nearly 3 months, right? And it's more than 2, and moving on to 3 months. I was meant to take over Cedar Cottage at the end of March. How many of you can see that what I realized was I still haven't got the house on the market? It's going to take me probably, until December to get it ready. And so therefore it probably won't go on the market until January. So January, February, March. And I went, my integrity won't let me do this because there's a very strong sense that I will not be able to do the deal because I will not have sold my house. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? Now, there's the other side, pragmatic people would say to me, but Sal, all you'll lose is the $5,000 deposit that you were going to put down. And if you know me well, you will know that wasn't the issue. If I get out of the deal now, they've got a chance of selling it now and getting the money now and being guaranteed. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I need to just get out of the way. The other thing is, can you imagine the stress of having to sell the house in that shorter time? When I say having to, that it literally all the dominoes would fall if I didn't. And I'm going, I don't want that much stress. And I now know, because of the telephone call, what the current reality is. So can you see that if I hang on to, oh, but I spent all those hours planning where everything's going to go, blah, 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 this would be impossible for me to let go. What I actually did was give thanks for the fact that I thought that's where I was going to go, because it helped me downsize a great deal. I also had to say to myself that, you don't need and don't want that much stress in your life anymore. And you control the amount of stress. Nobody else does. So letting go of the picture. Okay, so Beth, here's my new plan. So there was something else that came up, Beth, that was part of this jigsaw puzzle. Somebody said to me in the last week as well, something about what do you call home? And I said, I call home wherever I'm living at the time. I've traveled all my life, from one country to another. I've never had serious roots. I've lived in this house for 20 years. That's unheard of for me. But, I've never had what I call serious roots. So to me, home has always been where I'm living today. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm not tied into that. I've had reason to pack up and move on or do whatever. And so I've learned that, these four walls, as pretty as they are, or many more than four, but, these walls are my house at the moment and have been my house for 20 years. I'll be very sad to leave it. But I also know whether I move into an apartment or a luxury fifth wheel or a mobile home, whatever I move into is going to be my new home. The same way, wherever I go, I know I'm going to make new friends, right? I don't have any concern about that. I know that I can look past shabby interiors of places. Okay, Sakura, good to see you. I can look at shabby things and know that I can paint that and it'll look completely different. So, to me, I have a different sense of reality, perhaps, to a lot of people. But it was an amazing feeling to hear that voice so loudly say, do not sign this deal. And I went, oh. Now, my next call was to Yvonne, because Yvonne knows me better than just about anybody. And I told her what happened. And she said, wow, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm not going to sign the deal. I don't think you hear a voice that loudly and ignore it. That there's something I don't know that I need to know, but there's something I don't know. And therefore, I need to let it go. And it was heartbreaking in a lot of ways, but on the other side, it was like, it had to happen. Otherwise, I'm going to let people down, including myself, and I'm not going to be able to keep my word. Now, there is a slight chance that it would all fall into place at the right time. But can any of you see that actually getting the place sold, having the money in my pocket, and then going shopping and going, now I know I can do a straight deal, which is how I bought this place. When I bought this place, I already had the money in the bank. You know what I mean? I had the deposit, everything sorted out. I had the mortgage sorted out, everything. I knew how much money I could spend. But when you're this age, you can't do that the same way because you're retired. And so to me, it's about deal in reality, not in wishes. I wish that I could have done it, but there's a reason why it should not happen. And I may or may not find out what that was. But there's no point in worrying myself sick about it anymore. I had to sort of just let it go and move on. So Beth, I wish I had the answer as to what my new plan is. I will wait for the next inspiration. I do know that I spent a lot of time looking online again, but, I'm pretty sure that, the right thing for now. And it may not be the right thing forever. It may just be a temporary thing. I've even thought about I wonder at this age, is it almost cheaper to rent rather than buy, and invest the money? So that's what I'm looking at all those sort of things. So does this help anybody understand that A, I listen to my inner voice? B, I realized that the amount of stress I was about to put myself under was not good for my health. And C, as Pat said, looking after me was actually more important than looking after anybody. And I needed to make that call so that I could reduce the stress load. One of the hardest lessons in life, this is a quote that I saw, is letting go, whether it's guilt, anger, love, loss, or betrayal. Change is never easy. We fight to hold on, and we fight to let go. I could think of 1,001 reasons why I should not let that thing go. But when I really thought about it, I thought if I meant to be in a fifth wheel, I'm going to find a better one. And yes, I realized that a lot of the emotional attachment I had to Cedar Cottage was what they'd done with the outside. And I'm pretty sure that for 10, 15, maybe 20 grand, I could create that very easily with the right person. And therefore, it is not the end of my world. Taking that stress off is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Yes, Jody. And Jody, I want you to hear that and maybe put that up somewhere near you, because I think that is a quote you need to remind yourself of daily. Yes, and so Beth, you had your worries, all right? And I'm sure that other people, I could beat up on myself and say, well, I should have done this faster or whatever. No, I've been doing this as fast as my body will allow me. You worry about me. How cute is that? Like you haven't got enough to worry about. I appreciate what you're saying, because I hear the love in that, Beth. But, I think for the first time in my life, I'm actually doing things in a totally different way. Okay, enjoy your sleep, Pat, and try not to laugh too much, honey. I know how much that hurts. Well, Beth, I think that we all need that person in our life, right? The same as I have in Benji and Judy and the children, this surrogate family I never had, right? Grandchildren I never had. And so part of I understand that attachment and that feeling, and I take it as a great compliment. I'm actually amazed how many people wrote on Judy's vlog that she did, because I was literally in the vlog for a split second, and I'm just amazed how many people actually picked up on the fact that I was there and saying how much they'd miss me, which I thought was really just delightful. And I was so touched by that. And it was just like, wow. So I look at it and go, I've said time and time again that we're all doing life at our own speed. And that's important to know, right? Doing life at your speed is the best speed for you. I watch Benji now, and his mind's thinking at such a speed that, it's way out of my league now. And so to me, it's interesting because, I think for a while I didn't think I could be of any real value to him. And yet, funny enough, we had at least one conversation in that short space of time where I said something that he really reacted to and said, wow, I would never have thought of that. And, it was really nice, because I think I miss having those conversations with him. And I was talking to him about some of the conversations we had had here on the channel, and how, really being open to listening to everybody's point of view has helped a lot of us see things differently. Listening to other people's ailments and challenges, I think, has helped a lot of people see their own differently. And that is what I think the world should be about. I think the world should be not about people who totally agree with each other all the time or come from exactly the same life experience. I think what makes life interesting is that you have different people who look at things from a different perspective. Beth, I can watch you and just by reading your stuff, I get tired, when I see what you can fit in a day. But, there's part of me that goes, I can remember when I was like that. And I could easily get tied into, well, you're just lazy now, you don't do anything. And I know it's not about being lazy. I just, don't do that much. And then I'm thinking, hey, Beth, you need to know, I even gave a thought this week to maybe I should be taking an energy drink. Maybe that would help. Yes, the more open you become, the more beautiful you see yourself being. Wow. That is so poetic. Yes, and yet for so long, Beth, you didn't want anybody to know what you really thought. All right? For fear of being wrong or, I think that is awesome that you can see that. And Beth, if they don't love you for who you are, then that's okay. All right? We've had a lot of viewers that came in and got, really upset because I refuse to change who I am. And that's okay. This is like, hey, if you don't like who I am, there are plenty of other channels. The reason that we do what we do is because we believe in what we're doing helps other people. And how do we know that? Because we get the feedback to tell us that. So you see, I think that this whole thing about letting go is trusting the process. Beth, was it an accident that you found us the time that you did? I don't think so. You came into our sphere of influence at a time that you were ready to let go of some of your old stuff. Now, I want to tell you something, that it amazed me the speed at which you did some of those things. In fact, I was actually quite scared because, you literally, you are an all or nothing person, literally. You either do it or you don't. You were quite right. You were killing yourself inside and out. Yeah, I think I even said that to you. What you were doing was suicidal. You were literally starving yourself to death, and that's suicidal. And but something, Beth? I can't change that. I can't change that. We can send you all the hugs in the world, but only you can change that. And so I look at it as well, which is, I could have had 25 people come in and help me downsize my house, but what stress would that have put me under? It's just like, I've done this very slowly, and I've still got an awful lot of boxes downstairs. But the good news is I have got rid of about half of it. And I'm in the last, section of it now, and I'm going to do it. So the whole thing in this letting go is that we all have things of which we need to let go. It's not just you, right? Everybody I know has something that they want to let go of. Now, I can remember not so long ago being at a dinner with somebody, and they were talking about a friend of ours. We both know this person, a friend of ours who had made a mistake, a big mistake. I don't mind telling you, a big mistake. And when she was talking to me about it, she said, well, all my other friends are telling me I should just let him go. And, you know, I can remember saying, did you ever consider that we might be the only friends he has? And she said, what? And I said, did you ever consider that maybe we are the only friends that he has? And he is not perfect. And boy, neither am I. But, you know, did you ever consider that? And so there's part of me, while we're talking about letting go, that wants to talk about, when do you carry on not letting go? And, you know, I made the statement last time we talked about this, where somebody said, well, you know, they screwed up, so let them go. And I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. I screwed up quite regularly, and I'm really glad that my friends didn't just let me go. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, sometimes you have to work out, when do you not let go? So some of you know, because you've been through grief, that it's very difficult to let go of somebody very close to you. And I think that's okay. I think that is a sign, in a way. I always say to people, if you didn't love them so much, you wouldn't hurt so much. And that sort of letting go, I think, just has to work its course. How many of you have lost a family member or a really close friend, spouse, whatever? And you will know that that grief is terrifying. I believe, funny enough, Beth, I believe that the passing of a pet is, you know, devastating to somebody who has treated a pet as a member of the family. And I don't decry that at all. When people say to me, oh, it's just a dog, I go, no, you don't understand. You obviously have never owned a dog, you know, or if you have, you never related to a dog, you know, lay down on the floor and had discussions with your dog. Because if you've ever had a dog that puts its total trust in you, right? And I think that's what makes the relationship with a dog so different from a cat. A cat can survive far more easily without a human than a dog can. And not that dogs, you know, can't be strays, they can, and they can survive. But there's something about that dog relationship that really is very dependent on us as humans. And so, you know, to look after their best interests, that's our job, right? Our job is to look after them. And they, in turn, will give us unconditional love. And protect us from things that we have no wish to be protected from, I've noticed. Yeah, it's just like, really. So I think there are some things in life that we need to just know that it's okay not to let go. I don't want anybody to think that letting go is easy, or that letting go of somebody that you've lost is the same as letting go of Cedar Cottage. However, can some of you think about this and say, what did I have to let go of Cedar Cottage? Can you think through that? What emotions did I have to let go of? Because if you can see that, then you can see how to let go. Part of me says that what I concentrated on was not the emotion. What I concentrated on was who I am as a person. In other words, it was never my intent to have this happen. That was never my intent, but it did happen. Fact. I also look at it, as I said, you know, hi, Kerry. I also looked at it and said, I believe that I am capable of making almost anywhere home. So this is not as important as it might have seemed. All right. I was able to look at it that way. I am not ready. You know, and I literally went down my list of factual points and went, you know, this is okay. I really do believe that in some way I could pack up everything I have got left. And part of me went, what if I went on a cruise for a year around the world? Yeah. Learn to live in a cabin instead of a house. Then I thought how fat I'd get with all that food. And such good food. So, I think what I want you to see is that letting go is a personal choice. Whether it is Lauren saying goodbye to her trip, because in reality, she doesn't have the money. And she did make an attempt to get some and it failed. Whether it's Jody hanging on to what used to be her ability to move and do things, and realizing that right now she is in a lot more pain and that limits her ability that much more. I think looking at those pragmatic things is not being a loser. I think looking at those realities is very adult. How many of you agree with me? But how many of you have been trained to think that that is, you're not dreaming for the best or whatever? I don't see it in the same realm. I believe that Jody can accept what is her reality today and still dream for a miracle, because that's realistic. Miracles happen. But in order to be happy today or happier today, Jody has to accept that she is in a high level of discomfort. She's not getting the sleep she needs. Yeah, Jody, I agree. And Jody's saying, I do. I feel I'm just standing in my truth. Yes, you're not BSing it anymore. So, the whole reality is, like Kerry, you're exhausted, right? You're exhausted from dealing with the pain. You're exhausted with trying to cope. Yes, there's always hope and your faith is strong. All right. So do you understand, Jody, that was where I came from as well, which is letting go here doesn't mean that I have to let go of everything. It means I let go of this little bubble. This was a little Disneyland bubble, and I just needed to let that one go because I've just got to keep looking for new bubbles. And what I'm busy processing now is what did I not like about Cedar Cottage? Not what did I like, because that will make me grieve. I don't want to do that. I'm starting to look at what was I scared of about Cedar Cottage. Does that make sense? There were different things. So, Jody, to me, one of the most amazing things about having met you through doing this is that I am constantly in awe. It's a bit like Erin or anybody else that suffers a great deal. I don't know if any of you saw the picture of Erin, who was, some of you know, she literally has the use of, I think, one hand, a bit of her neck muscles, and a part of her arm. She basically lies on her stomach or on her side for most of the day. And yet, have you seen anybody with a bigger smile? And I saw her all dressed up for Halloween, and I'm going, how many people would have just not bothered? But Erin continues to live life to the best of her ability. And for that, I am stunned and I am in awe. It makes sense. Now, I wanted to run this one by you, and because I know I've got some deep thinkers in the room, which is overthinking will destroy your mood. Breathe and let go. Right? Overthinking will destroy your mood. So regardless of what I've done, do you understand? I could spend the next 3 days overthinking this and beating up on myself and going, you're such a loser, da 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 da. I know that's not true. I'm not a loser. And therefore, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to go, okay, time to move on. To what? I have no idea, Beth. But you'll know as soon as I do. And even that might not be the right thing, but I'll keep looking. And if you think about it, I've seen mobile homes, I've seen float homes, I've seen luxury fifth wheels. What haven't I seen? I'm now looking at apartments again. And I say again, I didn't think I wanted an apartment, but maybe that's where I have to be. So, it's just like, I just going through the process. So not overthinking. Life moves on, and so should we. As I said, there was part of me that really started to say, is it actually more practical to rent? And then you go, well, you're throwing all that money down the toilet, da, 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 da. Yeah, but you know something? How many years have I got left, guys? do you know what I mean? It's like, I'd be throwing probably 12, 20,000 a year down the toilet. But, I'd probably be doing that wherever I go. So, it's you got to get a sense of humor about these things. I was, one of the questions was, well, what if it sells immediately? What are you going to do? And Benji was asking me this, what if you put it on the market at the beginning of January and it's sold by the middle of January? Then what are you going to do? I said, give me that problem. Right? Give me that problem. Because that will change how I think about things. I am pretty certain I will be rushing, well, not rushing because I don't do that, but I will be doing a lot of phone calling, trying to find storage for my stuff and start putting it in immediately. I believe that I will probably go and have a look at a couple of places to see what I like. And then, maybe rent short term. I don't know. You can live your life angry, bitter, mad at somebody, or even guilty, not letting go of your own mistakes. But you won't receive the good things God has in store. You can live your life angry, bitter, mad at somebody, or even guilty, not letting go of your own mistakes, but you won't receive the things God has in store. So I believe that every day we need to look at what do I need to let go of today? I have found with the downsizing experiments that I keep downsizing everything. I have noticed that, for example, my everyday makeup used to take up a big basket that I took out of the underneath my bathroom sink. And what I said is, that's ridiculous. You cannot possibly use that much every day. So therefore, what you want to look at is, what do you use regularly every week? And put that in a drawer. That is my everyday drawer. Every week drawer. The rest of it goes into a bin with a lid on it, and it's like I go there when I really need something. It's the fancy eyeshadows, it's not what I use every day. Every day I use this sort of eyeshadowing, right? So, the everyday moisturizer I use, no doubt about it. Oh, you would be so proud of me. When I was down with Benji and Judy tried to give me a gift of some very fancy makeup remover. And you know what I said to her? Judy, the old me would have taken that gladly and taken it home and not used it more than once. The new me says, how about you find somebody who actually takes their makeup off regularly? I said, it's always been a joke with me when people ask me what makeup remover do you use, and I say pillows. It's just like I am not somebody that religiously takes off their makeup. And by the way, if you want to hear what damage that does to your skin, look at this at 71 and tell me what damage has it done to my skin. It's not so much about what I don't do about taking it off, is what do I do putting it on? I think that is what the difference is. As some of you have seen me, I literally take Lubriderm, cocoa butter, and shea, or whatever it is, and I splosh that all over my face and my neck before I do anything. And I let that soak in, and then over the top of that, I start putting my makeup. I mean, I literally hydrate my skin to that degree. And what I love about Lubriderm is it isn't oily or anything, and it just sucks, it just does get absorbed. And I think, when you think that I spent 17 years in Africa and never wore sunscreen, when I was out riding in the blazing midday sun every day, my skin should look like leather right now. And so I'm very, very happy. People change, life moves on. People change, life moves on. How many of you are having difficulty because people are changing and you don't fit in quite the way you used to? Because you're not changing in the same way that they are, or you are changing and they're not. So let's take a moment and think about that. Because I think when we have that situation going on, the bit that we need to look at is letting go of our need for them to be like us. Do you understand what I'm saying? That if we can let go of, hey, I need them to think like us, or I need that person to be like me, then you can still be friends. And it's one of the interesting things that I'm seeing is that people seem to think that everybody should think the same. And I don't think so. I was actually talking to Benji, and I had a very rare discussion with Benji on something that he has never discussed with me. And I thanked him for it. And he looked at me, he said, for why? And I said, because you never have discussed that subject with me before. You've always moved away from it. But I said, the way that I learn is by discussing things with people who have a different point of view, right? That's how I learn. I get confused. How can anybody think that way? Well, if you listen to them, you'll find out. And it's like, even then you might roll your eyes and think, really? But at least you understand why they think the way they do. Have any of you had friends like that where you're going, I cannot believe that they think that? And it's just like, well, they do. And so to me, part of this whole letting go is, does it mean that you're wrong? Not necessarily, but does it mean that you're right? Not in their eyes. So that goes under the subject of we agree to disagree. But other than that, we're doing good. So we need to let go of the need to be right. Get going, move forward, aim high, plan a takeoff. Don't just sit on the runway and hope someone will come along and push the airplane. It simply won't happen. Change your attitude and gain some altitude. Believe me, you'll love it up here. Do you want to take a guess as to who said that? Get going, move forward, aim high. Plan a takeoff. Don't just sit on the runway and hope someone will come along and push the airplane. It simply won't happen. Change your attitude, gain some altitude. Believe me, you'll love it up here. And surprisingly enough, that was Donald J. Trump. So as we look at letting go, we also need to look at moving on. And when I say moving on, for example, now that I've let go of Cedar Cottage, what I actually have done is actually not totally let go of it. What I said was, if I sell the house and Cedar Cottage still is not sold, I will rethink that. Does that make sense to you all? If by any chance my house sells immediately, that it goes on the market and Cedar Cottage is still available and I've got a clean deal on my house, I would go back and say, okay, now this is clean. Now I can do the deal and bring me the paperwork. Let's do it. So, it's not that I have totally let go of it. I've let go of doing it by the time that they say. But on the other hand, I've released them from needing to hold on to it until the end of March now, because I know that things change for them. Because he got a job away and they were holding on to it because they'd originally told me that they wouldn't go until the end of March. Well, now, of course, they were holding on because that's what they told me. So part of this was letting them go. And if they want to sell it immediately, they can go and do it. I like this one. It's be sincere in your thoughts. Be pure in your feelings. You will not have to run after happiness. Happiness will run after you. How about that? Be sincere in your thoughts. Be pure in your feelings, and you will not have to run after happiness. Happiness will run after you. I always find it interesting that so many people will write to me and say, "You're such a wonderful person," or something like that. And I will write back and go, "On a good day, yes." I no longer let people believe that is totally the real me, because as I'm a human being, there are days when I am not that wonderful person that you imagine. There are days when I am really anything but. Jody, there are days when you are the most amazing human being in the world, and there are days when you just lose it. And it's just like, that's okay. It's like, hi, Erin. I was just talking about your awesome Halloween costume. I don't know if you heard it. That, if anybody had all the reason not to get dressed up for Halloween, it was you, and look at you. It was the cutest thing. So, I look at it and go, we just have to let go. And we have to let go of things, but on the other hand, we have to move on. And when you make your peace with the fact that the purpose of life is not happiness, but rather experience and growth, happiness comes as a natural byproduct. When you're not seeing it or seeking it as an objective, but it's something you find along the way. All right, so how many of you can see that happiness is something that a lot of people chase. What this is saying, rather chase experiences. I've always said, life is about memories and not about things. So, chase experiences. Go try something new. Jody, remember what I said to you. However difficult it is, however much it is a pain to do it, go out once a month for a meal at the food court, if that's all you can afford. Just do it to get out of the environment, all right? And I'm saying that now because the weather up there is not too swift. Well, I want to tell you, Erin, I saw that picture of you, and I just went, gosh, if ever there was an inspiration, it's you. And I've got to say that because you really are amazing to me. I don't know what you are to other people, but to me, you're amazing. All right, now then, here's a nice one. Try to be like the turtle, at ease in your own shell. All right. How many of you spent so much time in your life trying to get out of your shell and try and fit into other people's shell? And really what it's saying is, your shell is okay, right? But in order to move forward, you've got to stick your head out and start moving a bit, right? If you just stay in your shell, it's going to get pretty nasty in there. Yes, Kerry, I saw that Mike spoiled you on your birthday, and so did a lot of other people by the sound of it. So it looks like you had a good time. So in terms of letting go, let me ask you, in this discussion that we've been having, what came up for you? What is it that you heard that you're going, this is something I need to let go of now? Because if you were listening actively, the chances are you got some idea of what you need to be letting go of this week. And part of what I strongly believe is that we all have things we need to let go of every day. Jody, I was pretty sure that you understood that when I saw the pill making mat that wasn't actually made for making pills, I knew that you would love that, right? It was just so clever. And for those of you who don't know, Jody makes a lot of her own pills, with herbs and things. And I've been fascinated by it. And I've just recently bought something that's going to help me do it. But here is the thing. I then found this incredible video online with somebody who's actually mixing stuff up together and freezing the herbs. And I'm going, Jody would love to know about that. So this is about, I was thinking how many things you could do with that, and the fact that she just puts them in a bottle and freezes that bottle. Once they're frozen, you just put them in a bottle and that's it. And you take them frozen. Clever. So you wouldn't need to do all that gel capping stuff that I've just spent a fortune buying the machine that does that. And Beth, I know you're listening on the phone, but I want to tell you, there was part of me when I was away that was thinking of you, and I'm getting serious grandmother points. When the things I was doing, I kept looking at the children and going, what am I going to do to get some serious grandmother points in a very short time? Well, the moringa, I think there's a way to do the moringa as well. You see, do you remember what it said, Jody? I don't know if you saw the video, but one of the things it said is that you do lose. No, I don't think so. I think there is a way to use moringa without having it in a capsule. I believe, I haven't found it yet, Jody. When I do, I will let you know. But one of the things that it said about moringa powder was that you do lose a little bit of the benefit if you cook it, if you have it in hot food. But I'm thinking, what if you mix it with coconut oil, for example? What's the yuck for? If you mixed it with coconut oil and froze it, you could just take it like a capsule, but what you've got is good oils and moringa. So anyway, I still haven't got that one worked out. But I didn't know that you needed to cook. What is the stuff? What is the stuff I mix with cinnamon? The hot stuff. Thank you, turmeric. Okay. I didn't know you had to cook that first, did you? Because it gives off starch. Did you know that turmeric has a lot of starch in it? You learn something every day. So part of letting go is moving on to something more interesting. So Jody, one of the things, I don't know if you noticed that I did that, when I saw that you were beating up on yourself so badly, did you notice that what I did was actually give you something to go, oh, that's interesting with? Because I know you. And it's like if something tweaks your imagination, you will then go and play with that for a little while. And so this was like, what can I do to help Jody? Well, the one thing I can do is to find something creative that she will find interesting. And that's what I spent some time doing. And I went, oh, yep, she'll like that. It's like that is something she probably hasn't seen before. And as you know, it's like sometimes to let go, we need to move something forward. I don't always come to your rescue, no. So, Kerry, did you get to order the glasses online or did you pay full price? But the question is, Jody, did it work? For that time that it took for you to go, oh, look at that, that's interesting. Did it change your mood? And I think that is what we do with children, right? And I haven't had the pleasure of being a mom, but one of the things that I notice with children is if you want them to stop one behavior, you distract them with another. All right. So to me, that is the same thing to do. If you're trying to help somebody, if you're trying to help somebody who's in overwhelm, distract them with something else. And it'll just hopefully give them a moment's peace. So let me ask you, because you all are smart people, what do you do when you realize that your friends need to let go? What do you do? Yeah, mine is as well, Kerry. So what do you do to let go? When somebody needs to let go of something, what do you do? When somebody is overwhelming, what do you do? And the reason I want you to think about that is because it really, all right, Jody says she talks with them, all right, she opens up, talks to them, and prays for them. Yeah. I found it really interesting that Yvonne, as you know, who knows me very well, she really knows how to settle me down. I was, in overwhelm at one point recently, and she just looked at me and she went, okay, you're in overwhelm, which means you've gone a bit numb, which means you're not dealing with reality, you're busy dealing with emotion. So how about we start sorting out the realities? And literally everything I said that was emotional, she said, that's emotional. What's the reality? And then I go, blah, 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 blah. You go, okay, that's emotional. What's the reality? Blah, 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 blah. That's emotional. What's the reality? And I went, 1 and 1 makes 2. She said, now that's reality. And you go, good point. So that's one way when you've got somebody that's totally overwhelming themselves. All right. Did that make sense? Because when you listen to it, when we're overwhelming, it's amazing. The other thing is sometimes we need to let go of our need to fix it. All right. That really all the person needs to do. Yes. Is that fact or an emotion from New Amsterdam? Yes, Jody, exactly. And you know something? You know, when you realize that most of our overwhelm is actually emotion. Kerry, I don't know if you can see that, but when you really look at when you're in overwhelm, it's about the what if monster. You know, what if da 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 da? What if this and what if that? What if that? Yeah, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to do well. You know, maybe you will. You know, it's not based on fact. It's based on fear, and overwhelm is based on fear. Period. Yeah. Now, Kerry, for you to be overwhelming, was that about your grandpa? Because if it was about your grandpa, who's been passed for 10 years, do you understand the only reason you would overwhelm about that? Actually, let me just make sure that is what it was about. Oh, so what were you overwhelming about? If you care to discuss it. So what I'm saying is if you can actually look at overwhelm and go, okay, I'm going to pretend that all these thoughts are in the basket, and that's why I recommend that you journal it. You know, that you start pulling out what is fact and what is fiction. All right, so work-related stuff had you in overwhelm. Okay, is it something you can discuss? You're not getting the hours you need. Okay, that's fact. That's fact. Well done, Kerry. Yeah. So let me know if you want me to work with you on that one. Erin, you've noticed that when your blood sugar is low, you get overwhelmed really easily and emotional. You get a lot of anxiety when your blood sugar is low. Wow, that is awesome that you can see that. So what do you do? Drink orange juice? Okay, so think about this, Kerry. All right. You're not getting the hours you need. How many more hours do you need in to make up the time? At least 10 or 15 more hours. Do you think you're going to get it from your job? I mean, have they said they are able to give you another 10 or 15 hours? That would be my next question. Good. So you doubt it. So now I'm looking elsewhere. That to me, that is absolutely very adult behavior. You know, you gave them, you doubt it, you haven't asked them. But the reality is you need X amount of money coming in and you're not getting it. That's what I hear. And so in what you're doing is plan B. Now, it may not be that you need another job. Maybe you just need another job that gives you yes, look how many jobs are hiring for the holidays. I believe that places like Amazon and stuff like that are desperate for people to work over the holiday period. So that would be a great idea, Jody. Yeah. Okay, so the hours fluctuate based on projects. Now, how much warning do you get of your schedule? Because to my mind, are you on a part-time schedule? And you're work less than 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week, sorry. Now, what is it part-time? How many hours do you work for it to be part-time? 40, I think, right? So to me, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to check that. Can anybody Google that quickly? How many hours a week is considered part-time as opposed to, what's the maximum number of hours to work for it to be part-time? 40 is full-time. Yes, that's why I kept stalling, because I'm going, no, 40 is full-time. So anybody who gives you less than 40, right, is a part-time job. Is that correct? I just want to make sure my facts are right in the States. So my feeling is it a full-time, part-time job? 20 to 30 is part-time. Okay. So everybody is part-time minus supervisors. So if you've got a part-time job, therefore, do you and you're not getting enough hours, surely you can make those hours up somewhere else. In other words, if this job is giving you 10 hours and you need 20, can you not do 10 hours here and 10 hours somewhere else? I mean, I've known people that work up to 3 jobs, but so what I'm trying to say, Kerry, is maybe you don't need to let go of your job you have. Maybe you just need to supplement the job that you have. Makes sense? Because what I'm seeing happening, what I see happening, Kerry, is that more and more people are just using part-time people. All right, because it's much cheaper for them. They don't have to give benefits. They don't have to give medical. Da 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 da. Good. Okay, so you're open to either. I'm looking for another part-time unless a full-time one catches your eye. If you come across a really good full-time one, you'll take it. Okay, got it. Good, Kerry. So how can we help you not overwhelm? What do you need to let go of so you don't overwhelm? And again, I recommend that you write these things down. Take the time to sit down. My next job, other than to continue the downsizing, is to work out how many months I have left in my house. You know what I mean? How long can I afford to stay here? You need a reminder to breathe. Okay. To slow yourself down. All right. Because that's what breathing does, right? It slows you down. And we all relate to that. But the other thing is, do you need a reminder that this isn't going to fix itself? You're going to need to do something. Are you resting enough? Yes. So, Kerry, do you have a watch yet? One of the things that I've done is I am consciously working at increasing the amount of sleep I get, because I realized to my horror, I was down to less than 6 hours sleep a night. And I am busy working my way up to, I think I'm up to about 7.5 now. I've had a difficult week this week because I've been away, but other than that, I'm really working hard. Because you're saying you don't take time to yourself anymore, all right? So what you're finding is, because of your relationship with Mike, you are not spending enough time resting. All right, so I've got to ask a question about this, because he strikes me as a pretty laid back sort of guy. Yeah. No, I'm sure it's not all on Mike. No, I quite agree. I definitely don't think that you're silly enough to think that. But what I'm trying to find out is, what has changed? You're saying, because I don't take time to myself anymore. So what were you doing before that you're not doing now? So part of it is Mike, obviously, because he's taking up some time that you used to spend on yourself. But, it's happy time. So what else has changed? It's not that you're working too many hours. And the reason I say this, Kerry, is take the time to work that out. For example, I literally am busy working out what was the appeal of the fifth wheel. I wasn't going to have to spend as much on heating a big place. I wasn't going to have to spend as much on, various other things that a bigger place creates. And so in my mind, I'm thinking about all those things. If you think about, okay, fine, what am I blaming this on? And yet the truth is, what do I need to spend less time doing so I've got more time to look after me? And one of the things for me is I need to spend less time online. All right. And use that time better. May I ask you, how much time do you think you spend online these days? Everybody. Yes, Jody, that's a good one, right? Is it anxious time? Do you spend more hours worrying about the stuff? Or as I say to people, are you spending more time writing the list than doing the things on it? All right, you're helping your mom out because the blood vessels broke. Yeah, I've had that happen as well. So how much extra time a day do you think you're putting to help your mom? So again, one of the things that we've been talking about throughout this is, let's deal in reality. We probably think you're spending maybe 3 hours helping your mom, when actually it only is much shorter. For example, I tried to imagine, how long does it take me to empty my dishwasher? And I said, why don't I find out? And I literally put a timer on, and I emptied a totally full dishwasher in 2 minutes. And I went, well, there goes that excuse. It takes too long. Right? I found that with broadcasting, I know exactly what I can do in those last 10 minutes. Do you understand? I've got it timed now. I know exactly that I've got time to do this, 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 and this. And if I'm running short on that last 10 minutes, then this is what it has to drop. All right, so you're trying to juggle, her sugars are wonky, okay, and you're trying to juggle her and you and Mike and the pets. Okay, so that's overwhelm right there. But, but, um, yeah, Jody, I want to tell you something. I'm quite horrified at the amount of time I actually spend online, even when I think I'm not. Yes, Beth. All right. So Beth is supporting what Carrie's saying. She says, I think I understand where Carrie's coming from. Even if I take time for myself, my mind wanders and worries about my daughter and other things, and I end up not focusing on myself. That means that you are not important enough to yourself. All right. Yes, you spend too much time online. Hi, Scott. Good to see you. And Lee, if she's around. You spend too much time. So do I. I think we all do, Carrie. That's what I want to say. I think we all spend too much time online. And so to me, it's like I, you know, I do DearMamaSal. I watch a lot of stuff online. I do this, that, and the other. And, it's like half my day now is online. Leah's grocery shopping. Well, you give her a big hug from us when she gets back, please. How are you doing, Scott? You're taking time for yourself right now. So do you find that actually joining in the broadcast is relaxing for you? Okay, so can we encourage you to be there for the broadcast? Would that help? You're tired and hurting, Scott. That's sad to hear. What do you need? How can we support you? Beth, you're so cute. Beth saying, listen to Mama Sal is exempt from spending too much time online. Yeah. Okay, Carrie. So that is awesome. And, I really would appreciate any of the time that you can give us because, you are one of those people that I really, trust as well, that if Jody's not feeling too well, that, I know that you will help me. Yeah. And look at that. Erin's looking to give you some support as well. So, Carrie, one of the things I know about you is that when you go quiet, it normally is a bit of a problem. But here's the confusion. You've been quiet, more quiet, since you got into the relationship with Mike, and we all understood that. So I think there is a lot to learn for us all right? Some of us need to learn from Beth how to put more things into our day, but I bet you Beth doesn't spend as many hours online as we do. Okay, be careful with that box cutter. That's right. I still have visions of that, Beth. You are so funny. Thanks for making us laugh. Take very great care. So, yeah, Carrie. So, definitely, I would say a lot. I mean, even, um, you know, there must be so many people gearing up for Christmas now. So, even if you just put in some what I call seasonal hours, that would help. All right. And just take a little bit of the stress. And in a way, that probably will be part of your worries taken down a notch. You're right, the same as I've let go of Cedar Cottage. It's part of my worry. My stress drops away when I do that. And that's part of the reason why I did it, but only part. So to me, Carrie, this is a great learning opportunity. What is causing it? What do you need to let go of? What do you need to spend more time on? So if you could spend less time online, more time sleeping. I'm trying not to allow myself to still be up after 2 o'clock. I want to tell you that's really difficult for me, because I'm a binge watcher. So I totally understand my side of it. Understanding yours is important because we can only support you. The other thing is, Kerry, last time you were on, you were discussing your diet. Do you think that you are eating the wrong foods, maybe as well, that are causing more stress? Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you heavier into fast foods than normal? Do you need to up your intake of good food? And so I'd be looking about what can I do to help myself here. Um, yeah, I wondered about that, Kerry, and maybe Beth, can give us a bit of input on that as well. Which is, I listened to something that Jody was talking about with this moringa powder stuff, which tastes horrible, but it really is good for your system. So I'm looking at that and turmeric and other things and going, okay, what can I put into my system that will help my system better? And maybe that will give me a little bit more energy. And, if necessary, just make small changes, right? Don't make big ones. And, I don't know what you take to work to eat, but maybe change what you take to work. Do you know what I mean? Hi, Jamie. And just go, okay, fine. And Beth is the stealth one on packing. She does so much meal prep. So maybe find out from Beth, what she's doing for her food. Because from what I can see, Beth takes a really healthy approach to her meal prep. And does it sort of like once a week, boom, meal prep's done for the week, done. You know what I mean? And it's great. I've also found that I now am inclined to cook one type of meal a week, Kerry. Like, for example, if I buy a chicken, I will feed everybody roast chicken, but then I will do a series of meals from that chicken. In other words, whatever's left over from that chicken, I will put into small one portion size bags. And that is, there's normally enough chicken for at least 6 meals if I'm careful. Or if I make, I will take my slow cooker out, and while I'm busy during the day or while you are at work, cook a complete meal in your slow cooker and then put it into mason jars and freeze it. So you can take, so to me, you can, take those out and just warm them up in the toaster oven or whatever when you get home from work. So I found that really does make a difference to me. I just cook one type of meat every week. It'll be a pork tenderloin or a chicken, or it'll be, beef, and then I will baggy up whatever's left in single portions. So the other thing is I am making sure I eat a lot more green vegetables, be that salad or bok choy or whatever. I don't like it, but something, I don't really notice it a lot in a stir fry. I found that green vegetables in a stir fry are actually great. I don't know why you don't notice it as much. Maybe because there's so many other flavors going on. Anyway, so that is my green juice. Now, this is what Beth said, Jamie. And Beth was talking about this recently. She was saying, rather than have the juicer do the mixing, make your stomach be the mixer. Did I get that right, Jody? I think that's what she said. So she was saying, it is better for your body to eat those things and for the stomach to mix them up. than it is to green juice them. So I've stopped doing as many juicing things and going, now I'll do it if I'm in a hurry, right? If I haven't got time, I will put everything into the blender and quickly make breakfast. But I'm trying to take the time to actually cook. It boosts the metabolism for the stomach to do the mixing. So you've got a giant food mixer, and it's called your stomach. Yeah, that's what I thought she said. So I've been trying to listen to that because, occasionally Beth comes up with some really good stuff if you listen. Half of which I really fight, but, it's like, it doesn't mean it isn't really great stuff. Yes, green juice is good on the go. Yes, if you haven't got time, grab a green juice. Yes, absolutely. And that's really what I'm inclined to do if I'm really busy, is I will, make sure. I've also got some of those Ensure type things, Jamie, that and Kerry. I've got 3 or 4, and they last for a long time. And I've got them in my fridge. And I only take those out when I know I've had a bad eating day, and it's time to take some vitamins in. I'm pleased to tell you I've nearly finished the Halloween candy. I am really happy for that. Probably got, by the end of this week, it'll all be gone. So, everybody, I hope this has helped a little bit in terms of letting go. I honestly believe, like Jody always talks about when she wakes up in the morning, and I try to do the same, start the day by being grateful. Gosh, I'm so grateful I woke up. Thank you. Thank you for having sunlight today when it's, November. Thank you for this, that, and the other. And then the next thing is, what can I do to help myself, right? What do I need to let go of so I can do those things? I assure you that is my big challenge now. These are the things I need to get done, but I waste my time doing these other things. Do you know I have not been into paint since that last seascape that I messed up and I still want to work on? So, those sort of things, I keep doing other things, and those other things are online. So I'm playing more video games that I shouldn't be. When I say I shouldn't be, I don't think there's anything wrong with playing a video game, but I'm spending too much time doing that. I'm spending too much time watching shows on YouTube or whatever. It's like I need to get on with my life. So my new thing is, how will I be able to judge if I'm spending enough time doing? I would think I would have an increase in the number of steps I do. Would you agree? Because I'm not doing a lot of steps when I'm lying on my bed watching my computer or sitting here on the computer. So I am actually going to be working on that as well. Anybody else want to do that? More time doing, less time watching. So I'm going to let go of some of my wasted time and see what I can pack in on productive time. That's what I'm going to do. Small goals, absolutely, yeah. Big ones are never going to do it for me. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for your time. This evening, we're going to do some motivational stuff, hopefully, and I will look forward to that. In the meantime, please look after one another, and I really appreciate the fact that you do, but please, 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 let's start by looking after ourselves, because if you don't reduce your stress, nobody else is going to. If you don't let go of the things that are gobbling up your time, nobody else is going to. We are responsible for controlling the amount of time we spend doing things or the amount of stress we give ourselves. And that's the message that I really wanted to say. What I did this week was to get rid of a major piece of stress that was hanging over my head. And I believe that I will be healthier because of that. All right, everybody, big hugs. Love you dearly and enjoy the Halloween candy, whatever you got left. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.